Friday, June 4th at 5:40 p.m. I am Gazbot. It's lovely. It's sunny, but cool. Yeah. It's Sunday afternoon. A lot of time has passed since that intro. I am going to the post office, not the one by my house. I'm going for a walk to the downtown. Still have indoor mask mandates, but if you're vaccinated and outside, you don't have to have them. So hence I don't have it, but there's one in my pocket if I need it, around people's. But I have 2 Etsy packages to mail, and I did that really smart thing that I never do, where I had one sale from a couple days ago, and usually my inclination is just get it out as soon as possible, get it off my plate. But I waited a few days because I don't have to ship it according to the way I have it set up. And today into tomorrow, I think today I have to get it ready. Today or tomorrow was like the last day to ship it before it's considered late shipping out. And I got another sale today. So yeah, I could get another one tomorrow or next week or whatever. But at the very least, I'm doing a 2-for-1 thing, which is saves me time both going to the garage and packaging them up and taking a trip to the post office. Now, again, I'm taking the long walk to a far post office, but usually I'm a little more pressed for time. Today, I have a good chunk right now, which arguably I should be working on art, but I need to get some exercise. I need to get out and clear my head, and so I'm doing this. Now, that doesn't mean I haven't been working on art. And if you follow my other social media, you've seen that I've been posting up a lot of KaiJune stuff, which I'm going to talk about after this, and actually have some art I could show you. But I'll talk about that specifically in a minute. But in general, I've had successes and failures and weird stuff going on, but I have succeeded in drawing every day. So, I mean, that's something, right? You know, this week coming up, not the week I'm talking about that just passed, that I'm going to be filling you in on what I did, but this week coming up is going to be difficult because I have the Power Ranger show Action Activate, and we are going to be recording 2 panels for Power Morphicon Online. For those that aren't in the Power Rangers fandom community, that's kind of a big deal. I'm not saying that to pat myself on the back or like we're so great. It's more that this is the biggest convention probably in the world, but at the very least in America. And so it's a big deal in the sense that there's going to be a lot of eyes on it. It's a big opportunity that we were given to do this, that we were chosen and everything. But it's a lot of work. I mean, I've been working on it, a lot of sending emails back and forth. There's like a lot of scheduling. It feels like having an office job for a minute, you know? And then that'll culminate this week coming up. 2 days, we're going to have the panels, which are a little less than an hour each long, but there's still more work before and after that's going to go into it. So it's going to take up a lot of my time already, and it's going to take up a lot of my time going into next week. On top of that, this is where I talk about successes and failures. I have the secret project that I can't show, which I think I said was a gift for my wife, which if I didn't, now you know, but I can't show it because she knows it's coming now, but I haven't been able to finish that for a variety of reasons. One of which is I should have been working on that, but I started doing this KaiJune thing, which I wasn't really going to do, but I'm kind of getting sucked into it. Now I might be doing it. But again, I'll talk about more on that in a minute. And I have this next weekend, after the week, I have the proposal caricature job I talked about, that I still have to do the art for that, which I haven't. So yeah, a bunch of stuff. Next week's going to be kind of crazy into the weekend. And basically I won't be able to quote unquote relax until after the 13th. I got to double check, but I think the 13th is when I have the on-site proposal gig. At that point, theoretically, I should have no more outstanding jobs. And I know I've said this before, but it keeps being true. I'll have no more outstanding jobs. That's not true. That's not true. It usually is true, and then I get more, but I did commit to doing 10 sketch cards. I'm proud that I didn't do 20. They offered me 30. I was going to do 20. I almost got talked into doing 20. I said 10, and I'm glad I did, because I want to do more, and I probably could do 20, but I'm allowing myself to not burn too much at both ends. So, but that's what I was going to say, though. They're not due until the beginning of August. This is the beginning of June. So that gives me 2 months. So this month, if I can get some cards done, great. But I'm not going to stress about it until I hit July. And if I haven't worked on any by July, I'm going to really buckle down. Anything I do this month I'm going to consider bonus. So I totally forgot about that. So at the end, after the weekend of the 13th, theoretically, other than the cards, I have no client work. And that should be a low pressure deadline to do 10 cards in a month. Well, 2 months from now, but at that point it'll be a month and a half. And of course the horror. But here's the rub. KaiJune. So yeah, let's get into KaiJune. Let's get into that. So KaiJune, this is the first one I did. KaiJune is something that happens every year for X many years. It's Inktober. It's, it seems like every month, every week has a challenge. Sometimes months have multiple challenges. And I'm kind of over the whole challenge thing for myself. It does have value for some people. It's had value for me in the past when I did the 100 days, for example. But generally, I find it to be more of a distraction than anything right now. That being said, I haven't really drawn for fun in a while, and I was just, I don't know, I wasn't going to do anything productive the first day, and so I just did this quick monster, which I do not like. I'm not happy with it. I didn't like my technique. It was sloppy. I spent, I don't know, a half hour on it maybe, and but it was like the first day of KaiJune, so it was sort of like, well, I'm going to acknowledge it, say I'm not doing it, but here's what I would have done, I guess, today if I was doing it. And that was going to be the end of it, because as you know, I have too much work that I need to get done, and I should be working on the horror. So I put this up, and then the next day, it was a similar thing where I just wasn't getting work done. I was like, well, you know what? I'm not getting work done. Let me do another KaiJune. I wasn't happy with that first one. I'll do the second one to make it maybe be a little bit better, and I went more like insect themed. The first one looked too much like just like a giant barbarian thing, and it didn't look enough like a monster, although anything giant could be a monster, of course. This is all done in Procreate, by the way, on my iPad Pro with an Apple Pencil. And yeah, I was sort of just procrastinating doing what I was supposed to do, and so that's the other problem with stuff like this is if I felt like, hey, I should be drawing, and then I didn't draw, I'm like, that was a failure today. If I felt like I should be drawing and I did this instead of working on what I was supposed to, it's like, well, at least I drew. And then there's also the feedback. And I think that is where a bigger part of this comes from. Part of it is I just want to draw stuff that's low pressure for fun, doesn't have to be anything specific or please anybody but myself. But I'm also able to share it and share it instantly, because I've been doing all these cards that I can't share for a long time, and this other project I can't share, and even the horror, which I can kind of share. It's like I spend hours working on a panel that's going to go on a page that's going to go in a book that people will see one day, and if I show too much, it kind of ruins the surprise, I guess. But it was a combination of wanting to do something low pressure and after the fact. I wasn't thinking this at the time, but positive reinforcement and affirmation of just like people going, oh, look, it's a nice thing. And it's not a lot either. These first two got, actually I could look on Instagram right now while I'm talking to you. These first two got a few likes, because I don't have a huge Instagram following at all. I don't know if he's following anywhere. My following here on YouTube is probably the biggest following I have, and it's very modest. I appreciate everybody that follows, but just being realistic, it's a very small channel. Okay, so that first one, almost a week later, got 33 likes. The second one that we're looking at here was a little bit better, got 42, which is kind of commensurate with the skill and effort or whatever I put into it, because I probably spent about twice as long. It's probably closer to an hour and a half. Well, the first one was a half hour to an hour. This one was like maybe an hour to an hour and a half. And I kind of saved it with the color. I didn't really love it. This next one, I think I did, again, doing things because I wasn't doing what I was supposed to do, but I wanted to do a good one. I was unhappy with the first two, and I was like, well, now the only entries I have into KaiJune, I'm not thrilled with either one of them. And so I got the idea of a lot of kaiju are based on real animals, and I don't normally do that, or if I do, I don't use reference, and it's just sort of like a monster that has, what I think a tiger looks like out of my head, or something like that. So I literally Googled weird animals or odd animals or something like that, and this guy came up. And what's funny is I can't remember his name. It's something like Axoplexus or something like that. He kind of looks like a newt or a salamander, but he's got these weird tentacle things on his head. And I was like, oh, no one knows what this thing is. And after I put it up, two different people were like, that looks like a kaiju monster version of an Axoplexus. And again, I'm not saying that right, even close to. And it was. And so what I did was I basically just copied the animal. And then you can see here I started putting in changes. And I'm like, okay, I'm going to give him suction cups and little claws, and he has little hook barbs. And I imagine him being like the kind of kaiju that would kind of like grab onto another one and bite him or suck the life out of him. But it's all about grabbing and holding on. And then I'm like, well, let me put some markings on his face. Because then I'm thinking, like, if this was in a movie or a cartoon, you'd want to be able to brand it as different. Like, okay, so he's got these specific markings on his face, and he's got some fangs and stuff. And so just changing details to make it from what the animal was to being a more unique, monstrous, supernatural version of it. But also, I was talking to my buddy Mike Emmerich about this. I feel like, I've been saying this can apply to anything, sort of. Drawing an animal imperfectly already is kind of a new animal, is already kind of a monster. And so since I'm not a photorealistic artist by any stretch of the imagination, if I try my hardest to copy something perfectly, it's still going to have flaws and changes and things, whether I intend it or not. And if I just sort of loosely copy in my normal style, which is what I sort of did here, this animal, it already is changed and different in ways that I don't even intend. And so then to put a layer of intending changes on top of it makes it a complete kaiju for sure. And but my point is that I got this from a voice actor who talked about a lot of characters are essentially bad impressions of actors. You know, like, oh, there's an actor from the 50s and he was known for being this kind of guy, and I'm going to try to impersonate him. And maybe it's not even a great impersonation, but it's the character voice that comes out of my mouth when I try to impersonate that person sounds like a fun character for this new bunny or whatever. And that's what I was thinking about this. Imperfect drawings of actual creatures in our world become kaiju, you know, and if you put a little bit of effort into it, it becomes more of a kaiju. And I was actually quite happy with this one. I don't remember if I did full opacity on the inking or not, but like I was tempted to just leave it black and white because I got so tight. The other ones were a little bit more painterly, following what I did with the Mecha Godzilla that I showed you the final of that a minute ago. But yeah, I was putting in some heavy darks, and then at some point, because I didn't want to color them, because I already put so much work. Like I think this one took me, I mean, at least 2 hours. I don't know exactly, but at least 2 hours. And again, these are supposed to be fun little throwaway things to warm me up or keep me busy, or not keep me busy because I shouldn't be. But for most people, I think, that do these, it's either a way to get them drawing and get them working or get their work seen. I've done a few of these challenges, and I feel like the getting your work seen is a very small part of it. One of the things I did here, making the eyes white, was a huge thing because I was having a hard time making the eyes not look goofy. So by making them white, it almost looks undead, or like those sort of weird fish at the bottom of the ocean that are blind. And I think that's what really sold the whole thing. And then I just put in a bunch of layers of different shadow and whatever. And made it a monochromatic image with the bubbles, and I was happy with it came out. You know, the other two I didn't think were good. The first one I think was garbage. The second one was okay. This one I was actually proud of. So it's funny because people are like, you gotta like your own artwork and blah, 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 and I often downplay my own artwork because I don't think everything I draw is great. But I will admit it when I like it, and that was what I liked. But yeah, I find that the social followings I get on the various, you know, platforms for doing these sorts of stunts or whatever is minimal, like in single digits a lot of times, where it's like, oh, I did that for a month and I got like 6 new followers. It's like, it's not worth doing it for that reason. So either you do it for fun, or you do it as a way to get yourself jump started into art, or if you're just burned out on other art and you're taking a break or whatever. But what I find is, as a working artist, and I work much less now than I did, but as a professional artist who is either working for clients or trying to get my own project out, when I do these challenges, regardless of whether I like them or not, and regardless of whether I get feedback, and maybe I pick up a follower or two, but again, that usually doesn't happen, it's a distraction, and it takes time away from things I should be working on. And that's what started happening, you know, because then I was like, I don't even know why I kept going. I wasn't doing what I was supposed to do, and I only had a couple hours each day to work on stuff, and I was spending the little time I had doing these, and then sharing them all over and promoting them, and you know, and saying like, okay, this will be my last one. And so I did this one. This is the Horror Ray 4, which is my creator-owned character. I have 2 issues of the book out. Issue 3 is what I should be working on, and I guess I felt like, oh, I'm doing KaiJune, I should do my own kaiju. And up to this point I was kind of happy with it, but I ended up not loving the final product, because again, I was, you know, an hour or 2 in at this point, and I'm like, I kind of put some color in, but I don't have time to really color it, so let me go for atmospheric. And I was gonna ink the buildings, but I'm like, I don't have time for that either, so let me kind of gray them out. And I kind of just cheesed the ending. It's like as though there was a deadline of this has to be done now, and it didn't. Except I'm like, why am I still working on this? So I'll put some smoke in, and, you know, arguably this is all exercise, this is all play, which will make me a better artist, and there's some truth to that, but it's not something I should be doing right now. Why was I not done? I don't know. I could go, if I had kept better notes each day, would be like, here's the reason I did this instead of this or whatever. This one, like the other animal-based one, is one of my favorites. I decided to do a frog-based one, and I decided to stay truer to the animal. The other one, I intentionally put a whole lot of changes in. This one, I put a couple minor changes in, but I like the idea of this being a more, like, for lack of a better term, a heroic kaiju. It's 20 minutes in right now, just at that point. So I found kind of a non-standard looking frog, at least to my, you know, American eyes, and I was like, I'm just going to start off making him very big. and I'll put them on top of some sort of, there's 25 minutes, some sort of building. It's some sort of dome. I decided it was in England. That's not a dome from England. I just made that up. And I was like, and I'll have him jumping off it and have some like rockets or heavy caliber guns hitting him, so you know that people are scared of him and he's big. And the only differences I made, other than, again, my natural mistakes, is I gave him a little bit more of a expressive eyelid, and I put these sort of fin-looking things on the tops of his forearms and on the backs of his legs, and I think I put a couple little triangles somewhere. And other than that, I kept him pretty accurate to the reference I was using, with the exception of my stylistic interpretation and flaws. And so I was actually very happy with, again, the idea that like I kind of just drew this animal, but by context of making him big and, you know, putting a few extra minor details. An hour in now, and I'm barely done with the inks and yeah, and a lot of the background stuff. I was gonna put more stuff in and like buildings below him and stuff to show scale, but it was just getting nuts. And I was gonna just do black and white and kind of just do some shadow like I have here. Was kind of gonna be what I was gonna do, but then I realized I had to put the spots in, and then when I put them in, they didn't really show up, and I was like, okay, well, he's supposed to have like a white underbelly, so then like I just kept going, and then I'm like, oh, he's so heavily shaded now, it looks weird to not have shading anywhere else. So then I started like, okay, well, I'm going to shade the background, and I'll leave the moon really, you know, white and graphic, and it was just then, okay, but I got to make the, so you can see how it just snowballs and snowballs. And I think by the end of this, I think I only put in a bit over 2 hours, which for what I got out of it, because I'm slow, as I say, isn't bad. And it looks like I'm fast, but again, this is 2 hours. And here's the problem, is sometimes I'll spend 2 hours and it won't look this good. You know what I mean? Like that bug one in the beginning, that was like an hour and a half, and I didn't like it at all. This one I put 2 hours in, I like where it's going. I could have put another couple hours and made it full color and like really done something with it, but accidentally I decided to turn it blue. There's a feature in Procreate where you could change the entire background color and like move it around, and I like hit that and made it blue because I meant to just do a fill there, and I was like, oh, I kind of like that, and so I left a little bit of the gray, and I just decided to go with the blue, and I was very happy with that. And and going back to what I was saying before is, I shouldn't be putting this time and effort in, but it is rewarded because the first two got 30 and 42. The underwater character got 164 likes. Then the horror, which again I wasn't thrilled with, 33 likes. The frog, as of now, 171. These aren't huge numbers, but there's a huge difference between 30 and 171. So it proves that like when I think I did a good job, I'm kind of right, because that's when people say, wow, that's good, you know. This was the final one. This was day, I don't know, 6, whatever this was. And I didn't finish it. And in a way, it was good because I was really happy with how it was coming out. I decided to really try to get some perspective, some forced perspective, which I have difficulty with. And this was all from my head. Even though it's a dog-based monster, the head is sort of some kind of Rottweiler. I don't even know if that's the right word, but like one of those dogs that doesn't have a lot of fur on its face, like a big jowly jaw. There's 40 minutes right there. And then the body, I kind of pictured it being like a werewolf, but with just a dog head and like a lot of human aspects. Like, but instead of a human turning into a dog, I imagine this was like a dog that turned into more human and also gigantic. It's kind of what I had in my head. And looking at it now, not too long ago, I rewatched American Werewolf in London, and this body sort of looks like a mid-transformation body from the scene where the main character turns into a werewolf. Maybe subconsciously I was thinking of that. And so, yeah, I went in and I liked this a lot. I didn't finish it. Spoilers. And that's good and bad. It's bad because I wanted to finish it. And, like, I've also toyed with the idea of some of these original, like, the ones I liked, like this one and the other two, maybe polish them up a little bit and make little 9x6 prints, because that's the size I worked at here, and see if they'd sell at a Godzilla show or something. I feel like they won't because, I mean, people buy Godzilla, people buy Ultraman, people buy Power Rangers. Original art doesn't usually sell, but it'd be an interesting experiment, you know, if I just picked the original kaiju art that gets the most likes and made a couple prints. I don't know. If it's something you'd be interested in buying, let me know. What I usually do if I was doing that, I would do a pre-order, and I normally sell my prints for $10 each, but I'd like pre-order for $5 each. So if there were people that were interested, you know, shipping, of course, is part of it, depending on where you are, like, which could be a killer, as I talked about earlier in the video, or later. I don't know where I put this. But in the U.S., it's about $5 shipping. So it would be $10 shipped if you got the pre-order. Would anybody be interested in any of these? And I'm not going to hold you to that, but, like, just, I don't know, it's something I thought about, like, because, like, I feel like, oh, I want to finish this, but for what? Just to post it up again? And, you know, but if I was going to make a print, you know, I don't know. It's funny, though, because I did enjoy drawing this character, but I ran out of time, like, literally in the day. I was going to sleep, and it really drove home, like, I'm spending so much time on this.
and it was at least 2 hours, and I didn't finish it. So I was, like, you could see it was ramping up and up and up. So it was at least 2 hours and I didn't finish it. I did like the quality. It was coming out good, but I'm like, what? I have a comic I need to do. I have a client project I need to do. I have the sketch cards I'm not doing, all to do this, which, you know, it's fun, but that's not what I'm supposed to be doing. You know what I mean? Like, art doesn't supposed to be fun, which is not necessarily true, but it's as much as it's cool and people like keep doing it, and I appreciate that, it's me being irresponsible is what it is. And self-indulgent in a way that's detrimental to other things in my life. So I might go back and finish this guy up, but I'm definitely done with KaiJune, is where I was getting. Because I even thought at one point, I'm like, well, I don't have to have the Ultraman cards done until August. So if I can get this other stuff done, I could just do KaiJune every day and then do the Ultraman cards in July, and I should be fine. And I should be fine. But I've had a wacky luck, like everyone has with COVID, but just other stuff going on. I've had a lot of weird luck and bad luck and a lot of wacky stuff going on. So why put myself in that corner where I have less time? And even if I don't worry about the Ultraman cards, I still have other stuff to do. And as I said, every day, every second I had to draw has been going into these KaiJune things. And it was fun, but it just made no sense to keep doing it. And when I failed getting this done in time, I was like, good, great, because I wasn't trying to do this anyway. And for a minute, I was thinking I would.
I'm just out here in the world, downtown Hayward. Dropped some stuff off at the post office. Wanted to get some kind of coffee, maybe something cold, I don't know. And a new place is open, connected to the library, Hippie Brew. And I'm like, ugh, Hippie Brew sounds something, I hate the whole vibe. But I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna go over my prejudice. Hippies can do a lot of good, a lot of social change. And it's just a coffee shop. Go in and they're playing music I don't like, and they have placards that I don't like. And there's no menu. I have to read the menu that's glued to the table in front of the 3 employees, so that's awkward. So eventually I heard there's some mint thing I saw on the sign outside. The one lady didn't know what I was talking about. The other one had to come up like, oh, we do have a mint thing. It's like a coffee with mint added. I'm like, okay, I'll try that. And, but it has heavy cream. I'm like, well, I don't want heavy cream. Can I get some non-fat milk? And they're like, we don't have non-fat. I'm like, okay, regular milk. They're like, we only have heavy cream. You're a coffee shop, you only have heavy cream? They're like, we might have almond milk. And I said, you know what? Thank you anyway for your time. And I left. So now I'm looking for a Starbucks or something more regular. Tried to support a little local indie business, even though it's a hippie. They proved me right. There's a store over there, and I wasn't going that way, but I'm like, oh, I should check this out. Cookies. It's got a cute little logo. I'm like, maybe it's like a cupcake cookie shop. Maybe they have some tea. That looks cool. I'll try them out. But then something in my head said, let me look them up. It's a cannabis shop. That's a terrible name for a cannabis shop. Well, I did find another coffee shop. I think it's called Atlas Cafe Creamery. It looks pretty good. They got little pastries and cappuccino and stuff. But then I turned over here and I said, well, what's that neon sign? Oh my gosh, soft serve ice cream. I got some kind of crazy soft serve ice cream. It's got a fish in it. Success, everyone, success. All right, real quick. I just checked my phone. It's like, I don't know, 10, 15 minutes later. I just checked my phone because I saw an email notification from Etsy. Made another sale. So that one now will go a different day. Here's something interesting though. One of the sales I have and the new sale are going to, I believe, England. They're both going internationally. And I struggle with shipping because I don't want to not be one of those people that won't ship to other countries, but it is costly. And so what I used to do, $5 covers most shipping in the United States. Like my shipping supplies plus shipping. Maybe I lose 50 cents, maybe I make 50 cents, but on average, 50 cents will get it across the, $5 will get it across the country-ish. And then I was like, well, if it's going to another country, I'll add $1 or $2 on it. And I did that for a while. And sometimes it worked if it wasn't too far, like Canada or something. I don't remember now, but shipping prices have gone up and supply prices have gone up. I'm gonna sneeze. I did it, but I didn't let you see. And wow, it is really sunny out. And this is a cool building over here. I'm gonna turn so you can see. I'll turn slow so you don't get all sick. This is like the Capitol building, or I'm in downtown Hayward. This is like where the government is. I don't know, but it lights up at night. They put a Christmas tree there. It's cool. Anyway, the issue is that the $1 or $2 extra didn't really cover it, a year or two ago, and it definitely doesn't cover it now. But if I lost $1 or $2, like of profit, but I still made profit overall, and I'm making overseas customers happy, then it was kind of worth it. I don't know what changed, but lately, every international thing I have is like way up there, like $10 to $20 for packages that are less than a pound, And so, I don't know I don't know if I'm just getting unlucky with the areas I'm going to, or if it's a situation where things have gone up, but it's been consistent. And a couple times now, instead of me making a little bit less money, I've actually made no money, or in a few rare occasions, lost money. But even when I make money, I've made like $20, $40 sales, and I make like $3, which is ridiculous. And it's like, arguably, okay, people are getting my art, and I did technically make a profit, but the time involved also has to be counted, like to pack it up, ship it, and everything. So I bumped it up to $10, or maybe it's $9.50. I think I did $9.50 because that was $10 seemed like a lot. $9.99, everyone knows it's $10, so I made it $9.50. And both of these sales were international, and they paid $9.50 shipping, which is a lot considering the things both of them were buying were $10 prints. So it's weird that it's like between tax and shipping and everything, it's like a $25 sale for a $10 item. And both times shipping was more than $10. So even though I basically doubled my well, not quite doubled my shipping for international, it still is a situation where it's not 100% worth it to me. It is, again, because I want people to get my art and be included, and I gotta crunch the numbers, but like, I'm making just a couple, they're spending $25 and I'm making like $4, so it's like, so there's got to be a better way, but I don't know what it is yet. And I don't want to like make my shipping $15, because that's the other thing. It's so hard to know, and unless I go through and check every weight and every package size to every different country, I kind of have to have a general price. And I have had it before where I was, it was like $9-10 shipping, whatever, $9.50 shipping, and it only ended up being $7. And I feel bad. I'm like, I made $2.50 profit on the shipping, which I don't want to do. But if I don't do that, then the other ones I lose $5. Because I don't have solutions here, just problems. That's actually Hayward City Hall. It says it right on the building. So I don't know what that other building was. I know it's a government building. And well, this one has a kind of a standard look at or imposingness. The other one I find more interesting. But I thought this was the post office. So I don't know what I'm doing.